The Twitter acquisition drama continue on with Elon Musk ridiculing the Twitter CEO Agrawal.
Texas's HB 20 shakes the country and throws the large social media platforms into turmoil.
One common line of response from a Shanghainese shook the entire China.
就要对你进行处罚。你告诉我要讲道理。进行处罚了以后，要影响你的3代。你我们不好意思，这是我们最后一代，谢谢。
Welcome to Wei and Kathy Show. I'm your host, Wei Fang.
I'm your Kathy Zhang.
All right, let's just reverse the order. First, let's talk about the feature story we'll bring you today, which has to do with what happened in Shanghai. Basically, young Shanghainese just say one sentence, the whole country just went uproar. And
what's the line? We showed a little bit in the opening, but you may not be able to really capture everything.
Yeah.
But basically, this young man in Shanghai was countering the police who tried to forcibly drag him and his wife. And we don't know how many family members there, but tried to forcibly drag them to isolation, quarantine. But facing this threatening, he said one line.
Mm-hmm. And what is that one line? Let's stay tuned.
And it shocked the nation.
Yeah. Okay. So then before that, let's talk about the drama of the Twitter. As you know that the Twitter acquisition and then put on hold drama has been happening, and everybody's just really watching, just in amazement, what's going on there? What would be happening? Okay, and then as I told you that Elon Musk's all the information related to Twitter acquisition, Elon Musk himself, Tesla, SpaceX, come through Twitter. Okay, the tweets is what you can see what's going on with Elon Musk. So last Friday, Elon Musk's last tweet is to find out indeed what is the rate of the bots, the fraudulent accounts, and whether that's below 5% as claimed by the quarterly report by the Twitter company. And Elon Musk said, to find out, my team will do a random sample of 100 followers of Twitter. And he went on and said, I invite others to repeat the same process and see what they discover. Oh, wow. Okay. So that's just very, very strong response. Remember, he got like virtually 94 million followers right now. And people were asking him that, tell us the process, what should be the way that we do so that we can conform to, what do you need? And Elon Musk said, ignore the first 1,000 followers, then pick every 10th. And I'm open to better idea. Okay? So he went on and tweeted this. He said, the bots are angry at being counted. Okay, anyway. So, and then there's this inevitable question asked by, Twitter users. And what you are amazed is about, he actually answered it. And the question is this: you did not think about this before offering $44 billion to buy the company? Don't you have to be, have already vetted this? And now you are saying putting on hold because you have suspicion about this 5% bots. And Elon Musk actually replied, this is really just a common Twitter user, okay? It's not a VIP or whatever, a major figure, okay? Elon Musk replied, because that question represents the voice, at the top of people's lung for tens of thousands of people. Elon Musk replied, he said, I relied upon the accuracy of Twitter's public filings. Okay? Mm-hmm. He did not vet it. He believed in them. All right. Now it comes to the Twitter CEO, right? Parag Agrawal. As you know, that all the questions pointing to this guy, right? This is CEO who is supposed to support on all the data, know everything, and now Elon Musk is publicly questioning that whether your 5% or below is accurate. So actually today, he sent a 5 tweets series.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, 15.
15
tweets series, okay? I will not read every one of you because you're going to be bored to death. But I can tell you the essence of it. Okay? The essence of this 15 tweets is this. First, spam hurts and we hate them. Second, it's very hard to catch and they always change. The third, every day we capture and disable 500,000 fake account. And the fourth, we still could judge wrong because it's so hard to judge. The fifth, we measure things internally, okay? So we have estimated it is 5%. Mind you, okay, they said we estimated less than 5%. Did not say our math, our surveys tell us it's less than 5%. Okay, then the next he said we do human review of thousands of accounts, which is very, very questionable. They do human review of thousands of accounts. How many people they're gonna throw into it? And then the next rules, and we use rules that define what is the fake account, and we use internal data and public data. Okay, to validate, to decide whether a particular account is a fake account. And last quarter, last quarter, our estimate is fake account ratio is well below 5%. It looks very, relieving, right? Hear me out here. He went on and said, for external, check, actually you cannot see. You cannot see. If you see an account called John 1749960, you think it's a fake account. It may not be because our internal data tells us this is a real person. So the punchline is this. Basically, the CEO said you cannot tell by checking from externally. All right? And then he went on the last tweet, he said, lots of detailed has been shared with Elon Musk. We're glad to do more. So he sent 15 tweets. The punchline is this. Elon Musk, you cannot tell. Only we can tell.
No.
All right?
Oh.
Now, what is the Elon Musk response? For those of you who have not followed the news, and he gave a poo emoji. Okay.
Poo.
You understand that?
Okay.
The poo emoji, he just gave that. And you understand what he means, right?
Yeah.
He said this is BS. So then he went on, he retorted, he said, so how do advertisers know that they're getting for their money? This is fundamental to the financial health of Twitter. There's no answer from the CEO. And he went on, he said, because the CEO said we use internal data, external data, and the internal rules and things like that. And Elon Musk wrote this, okay, he said, have you tried just calling them? Ha ha ha. So yeah, you can see that how he poked this CEO, who actually, as a matter of fact, I think he tried to really pacify everybody, making sure everybody's fine, will not be mad or upset with Twitter, but without giving anything, much concrete stuff. Okay, and Elon Musk really just poked it through, saying that to find out bots is very simple. Just call them. Just call them. Message them. Are you real? Have you done that? Okay, so that's the exchange, public exchange between Elon Musk and the CEO of the Twitter, which he is supposed to purchase by the end of the year. And so as you can see that it seems that his question of whether the fake ratio, the ratio of the fake account is under 5% or not is a legitimate question. By the way, earlier response from his followers who did the due diligence of checking quite a few accounts and reported that. Kathy, what's the ratio? They reported back.
Yeah, what's the ratio?
One person, one check, 19.some%. So it's nearly 20%. Nearly 20%. Fake account. And now the CEO is saying, he's trying to say no. Externally, you just cannot count it. Only we can count it. Okay, so Elon Musk doesn't take it, right? He gave a pull sign and show that how he regard his opinion. His 15 tweets. So that's that story. What do you think? Do you think who has the ground? Who do you believe? You believe Elon Musk or you believe Parag Agrawal, the CEO of Twitter, who came on board actually, become CEO only last year. Mm-hmm. He's very ambitious. Okay, he said he's gonna double 50% growth of the account in one year and a half, and so on and so forth. He was very bullish and very aggressive, which is not bad. But the thing is, what's the delivery?
Yeah, this 19% of the fake accounts are not.
Right,
doesn't really add to the credibility of it.
And indeed, if it is like a 19%, 20% or above, and apparently Elon Musk should not pay $44 billion. We'll see. The drama is unfolding, is extending every single day. We've got new things to watch, and I really want to know how you think about that. Who do you believe more? As I, tell you the point of view from Elon Musk and this Twitter CEO. Okay, so Now, let's move on to the HB 20. Okay.
Yeah, what's this bill about?
Yeah, first, guys, you remember that, right? For big tech company, social media company, if they censor certain account or if they delete any post, you really cannot do anything about it. We all know that. You cannot do anything about it because it's a private company. It's their First Amendment. They can take down anything that they don't think is right. And it's their right. It's their First Amendment. It's not your First Amendment. It's their First Amendment because they are not government. Okay? They are private companies. That's the first thing. The second thing has to do with the Section 230, okay? And the Section 230 actually came from the Title 47 and of the U.S. Code, okay, the federal code, the U.S. Code. And so what does it do? Two things. As the social media platform operator, your platform and the content are different, okay? You are not responsible or will be held liable for any content posted by third party, which is your user, okay? So if the content hurts someone, you bear no obligation, responsibility. That's the first thing, okay? Remember, they are immune from from the responsibility. The second, they can delete or modify anything they feel is obscene and indecent and dirty and excessive, violence and harassment and just pay attention here, and third-party material that is objectionable to by people. So whether such material are subject to the constitutional protection or not. So just hear me out. They have no responsibility, but they have the power. Okay? They can take down any post they think is objectionable, but they won't be held liable for anything. So in the management, the classic management, okay, you talk about responsibility and the power needs to match each other. You are given the power, you have to bear responsibility. Okay, you have the responsibility, you have to have the power. In this grand and fantastic, unbelievable Section 230, our Congress somehow gave those social media operator or the major platform operator only the power, not any responsibility. So by common sense, that's a problem, and that's a problem, right? So, but Section 230 is there. Okay, Republican doesn't like it, many Democrat doesn't like it. However, it's still very, very hard to change it because now in the polarized political scenario today, to do away with the Section 230 or even modify it, you need to pass the House, you need to pass the Senate. Mind you, Senator, because of the filibuster, you need 60 votes. And then you need the White House, the signature, the president's signature. So it's virtually impossible for any party to push this through. And given the conflict of values today, it's very hard for the senators or congressmen from both sides to join hands on this. So in simple terms, Section 230 stays. So first, you got the Section 230 who really protect those social media platform operator. The second, you got the First Amendment right, and then enable them to do whatever they want in the name of freedom of speech. So they seems to be untouchable. Okay, now I go a long way to give you the answer that to the question that Kathy just asked. What's the big deal about that? It's a very, very big deal. It is a very, very big deal, because Texas passed a law in last September, which says this, the following. Okay, Texas has made it illegal for the big social media companies to ban users based upon their political viewpoints. It's a state law. It's not a Section 230. It's not a Telecommunication Act. It's a state law, Texas state law. The law further requires the social media company to produce regular report of removed content. All right, they cannot do this just behind people's back. They have to create a complaint system for people to file complaint. They have to disclose their content regulation procedures. All right, and if they don't, if they violate any of that, Texans can sue them. All right, so so the law was passed in September of last year. Immediately, there's this injunction filed by the high-tech companies representing organization. Okay,
which is expectable.
3 months later, the federal district court in Austin ruled that the injunction holds. the law is stopped, okay? And then the base of the ruling is this, First Amendment. This is a private company, okay? And they do have the right to do whatever they believe is right. Okay, so that's that. Then immediately the Attorney General of the Texas appealed this to the Fifth Circuit Court. And then 4 days ago, and last Wednesday, the Circuit Court ruled with no opinion, okay, just the ruling, with no explanation, saying that the law is valid. Go ahead. All right, so what does that mean? Folks, what does that mean? That means if you live in Texas, I don't know how many of you live in Texas. If you do, please just indicate that in the chat room so that we know you. And if you live in Texas, and if you feel that they treat you unfairly, if you think they censored you, you can sue them, and you have the right. And if you win, they have to pay the attorney fee. So suddenly, the social media company face potentially hundreds, if not thousands, of lawsuits coming their way.
Wow.
Yeah. So, needless to say, they appealed to the Supreme Court, which happened last Friday. And so, what's going to happen in the Supreme Court? To be honest, I don't know. With all my understanding of the, Constitution and the current makeup of the Supreme Court, I don't know. We have 6 Republican appointed, Republican president appointed justices, and 3 liberal justices. And Clarence Thomas already said this since last year, saying that he want to work on this. He's waiting for a case like this coming to his table. What does that mean? He said first, okay, for the Section 230, okay, and for the First Amendment, he said no. In this country, we already have precedents of a private company being held responsible for censoring people, okay? Telecom company, ISP operator, internet service provider, phone company, okay? They are platforms, guys, right? They are platforms. They cannot pick and choose customers, rejecting certain customer they don't like, only honoring the customer they like. They cannot do it because the Congress already have law, communication law on them, saying that they cannot do that. Even they are private companies. They could not use First Amendment right to defend their choice of kicking off certain client. They cannot do that. That's already the law of the land. So Clarence Thomas cited that case. Also, Kathy, in a hotel, right? Hotel actually, being a private business, you actually cannot tell like a Black American, you go away. We don't accommodate you, because this is called a public accommodation. That's also the land of the law of the land. So there are already precedents like this. And Clarence Thomas saying that he would be treating Twitter, Instagram, and WhatsApp, and Facebook and Google the same as those telecom company, ISP company, and so on and so forth, and those hotels. So it's going to be very, very interesting battle. And when it comes to the Supreme Court, and if the Supreme Court reject the case, meaning that we don't take it, okay, the Fifth Circuit Court's ruling shall be final. Or they took the case, or they take the case, and they rule against the high-tech company, then virtually they lost Section 230. And then they lost this First Amendment protection. They have to deal with the tens of thousands of, I would say, potential lawsuit from people who feel they're mistreated. And then, or likewise, okay, in Florida, the same law is happening there. It's in the hand of the 11th Circuit Court, because the lower court also, issued the injunction. And then all the other 20-some states, they're waiting, okay? They could just pass similar law right after this if the Texas law holds. So it's very interesting. Remember that, we got like a 3 branches of power, right? Actually, in the design of the Constitution, that's the 4th one, state versus federal. If the Fed, win a raid, the state can resist and correct them, and vice versa. If the state went wrong, the Fed can try to rectify the situation. So this is the 4th branch, a power balance in our framework of our republic.
Yeah, it looks like, states like Texas and Florida, they are really in the forefront of exercising this type of rights, ruled by the states, right? You remember last year, in the 2020 election, after the election day, right? So, but on the other hand, you mentioned about how the Supreme Court, how Supreme Court will take it or will rule it. And that reminds me of, I think people are kind of ring the bell about what's happening right now because of the leak of the Roe v. Wade draft ruling. So Clarence Thomas, actually last Friday, he spoke at a press conference. Not a press conference, it's a conference for Black conservatives in Dallas. In Texas, actually, and he mentioned commented on this issue, and I think it's a very important quote I want to, share here. He said that I don't think that what happened at the court is, I do think that what happened at the court is tremendously bad. And he said, I wonder how long we are going to have these institutions at the rate we are undermining them. And then I wonder when they are gone or destabilized, what we will have as a country. And I don't think the prospects are good if we continue to lose them. So I think, the cases like the HB 20, going into the hands of the Supreme Court is another test, right? What do you think?
Yeah, it's a very, very live test. To be honest, I really don't know how they would rule. But it's good the case, now it's outstanding there. It's on the table. It will be very likely on the table of the Supreme Court. And it's a test of our Constitution, our freedom again. All right, and what do you think? Daniel Sullivan, you donated to us. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow, thank you.
Yeah,
I
and
really
Patrick, you said, I love your content. Thank you for your perseverance and commitment to sharing truth. Thank you very much. That's why we're here. And but for this issue, we covered two issues, right? For the Elon Musk versus the CEO Agrawal of the Twitter, who do you think you believe more? Elon Musk or Agrawal? And the second question is about this Texas law, HB 20. Do you support this law, or do you think it will be struck down by the Supreme Court? Do you think it will hold? It will hold, or it will not hold? And Louis, you said that Dems want to pack the court. This will fail. Yeah, right. So with all the actions at Supreme Court, that really just trigger the wish, the enthusiasm of the Dems to pack the court. And so that's apparently that's a very dangerous move, and we'll see that how that will unfold. So between now and the midterm election, we only have less than 6 months. All right. So how many things will happen between now and then? We don't know whether they're going to pack the court. They still got a time, and whether they can do that is the country really is hanging by a thread. That's how I see it.
Yeah, and talking about that, tomorrow is another important day of the prime election in some of the states, including especially primary election, especially like in Pennsylvania, right? So we're not gonna get into details today, but I think a lot of people are watching that, so we'll see how it turns out tomorrow. So, and talking about trying to hold institutions and trying to hold onto the basics of our founding of this country, people in China, especially in Shanghai, they are really struggling to trying to get their human rights, but on the other aspect. But let's get into the story we're gonna bring you today by just listening to this line again by this young man who said to the police who threatened him.
就要对你进行处罚。你告诉我要找到你。进行处罚了以后，要影响你的3代。我们不好意思，这是我们最后一代，谢谢。
Let's play it again. This is a very short line. I don't want you to miss it. Let's play it again.
就要对你进行处罚。你告诉我要找到你。进行处罚了以后，要影响你的3代。我们不好意思，这是我们最后一代，谢谢。
Did you get it? All right. So basically, the police is saying that you break certain rule, and we have to take you away. We have to bring you to quarantine. Okay. And the young couple, by hearing them, is probably in their only 30s or even 20s, and they refused to go. They said, what's your ground? I don't want to go, and you have no ground upon me. And the police become more forceful, okay? They become more strong, and they said, if you will be punished if you resist, and it will not only impact you, it will impact your future 3 generations. This is a very common, way of saying, okay, common, common threat in China, all right? Which means that if you offend the party, your children will suffer. Your children's children will suffer, because every citizen of China have this record, this archive in the hands of the party. Everything will be recorded there. They open it up. They say, "Oh, you were not obedient on this matter or that matter. We have a mark there. We have a score here. We're going to punish you. We're going to punish your children. We're going to punish your children's children." Which means your children may not be able to go to college. May even have the legitimate, eligible for getting the job or going to the college, and then not just that, your grandchildren will face that. So they use the party, the CCP, always use such things to threaten people, to bring them into, just have them bend their knees. Okay, and now.
So let's just review this story. So what happened was that right now in Shanghai, what they are taking, the actions they are taking is to go into people's home and to so-called disinfection or desanitizing or sanitize.
Yeah, they come in and they just spray everything.
Spray everything.
Yeah, you have to open out the door. You have to let them come in.
Yeah. So this young man, and because of they are doing that, and they taking people away, going to the quarantine or isolation. So this young man just trying to hold on to his own rights, and saying you have no rights to take me away, and they're trying to argue that. So let's just, I just edited a little bit longer conversation, and let's see how he tried to really hold on to his basic rights.
我是有人权的人，我不是你们可以随便拉走的人。我们是阴性的，你们没有权利强制把我们带走，不好意思，你只能带走挺阳性的。
那你不到时候就强制了，那没办法。
你们没有
强制以后还对你们进行处罚。
你们没有，
好吧？
你们没有资格强行拉走我们，不好意思。
有没有资格？到时候你自己看，就要对你进行处罚。
你告诉我要找到你。
进行处罚了以后，要影响你的3代。
我们不好意思，这是我们最后一代，谢谢。我们不好意思，这是我们最后一代，谢谢。
Okay.
So can you get that? And he's trying to say, I'm a person with human rights. You cannot just forcibly take me away. And they are just saying, if you don't go now, we'll just forcibly take you away, and then also will punish you. And he said, you don't have the qualification. He basically you don't have the rights to take me away. And they said, we'll see. And then saying, you're gonna be threatened by your next generations. But then he said, this is the last generation. So this is, he said in a very calm way, right? But it really resonated by so many people in China. It became viral on the Chinese internet and the social media, so that, again, you can imagine what the authority will do, right? They just censor it. So it's unknown if the family was eventually taken away and the video was just removed.
Yeah. Okay, maybe I need to do some explanation. The meaning of this is the last generation. It means the husband pretty much told the police that don't try to threaten me by threatening my 2nd generation or 3rd. We will not give birth to any child. We are the last people who would suffer at your hand. There's no children we're going to give birth to. So this is why it's called the calmest and the loudest protest. The only way they can protest the government is saying that we will become sterilized, right?
Yeah.
We will not give any birth to any children.
And think about it, in China, trying to have kids, especially a son, is considered to be the most important thing for a family. Yeah, and this is considered as the filial piety.
Yeah.
Xiao. Right.
piety.
Filial piety of a person, the most thing you should do. And for a young man to say that, it's just shocking. Okay, people cannot imagine that. But what the responses from the internet in China, it was like people say it's too shocking. I heard thunder in a silent place. And some said it conveyed the most tragic, deepest despair. And so this term, the last generation, quickly became a hashtag among the netizens on social media in China. So we can see a few more responses in the Chinese social media. But then, of course, the official censorship just followed, and the relevant discussion online were cleaned up and blocked. So so this is our last generation. Thank you, and this was blocked. Okay, and the last generation, these two words have been blocked. And so what the Chinese netizen did was they replaced the word generation to bag. Why is that? It's because in Chinese, the pronunciation of the generation and the bag are exactly the same. So that's how Chinese people, they try to get around the censorship. And then one user just wrote, after seeing the video, I initially laughed and then ended up feeling very sad. And he said, this young man resisted by giving up his reproductive rights. As we mentioned in the traditional Chinese culture, inheriting ancestral business has always been, a kind of the filial piety, and having children is considered an utmost important part of this. But now in today's China, in today's Shanghai, many young couples are not having children or delaying having the children, because they are using this as a form of soft resistance and a silent protest against the Chinese Communist government system, especially after this tremendous suffering under the extreme lockdown policy.
And especially, let me insert here, encourage birth of child has become the party's policy since last year. The reason? Because after this birth control policy, one-child policy, China's population is having significant change. Okay, very, very dramatic change, in the sense of there will be much less young people, and then this would impact on the country's GDP. Okay, the gross productive product. The domestic productivity, and then which got the party worry. So we cannot sustain our productivity if keep going this way. So the party has been touting around and just promoting and encouraging and even threatening sometimes people to give more birth and give birth to more children. But now this young man's response, okay, as well as all the other response elsewhere, is called, we don't follow you. You ask us to give more children. We don't want to give more children so that they suffer at your hand. This is another, context of this calm but a very, very strong resistance.
Yeah, think about that. A person just saying I'm not. Usually, having children is one's own business, right? And it's so important for any family in China. But they just go that far to express their consent, discontent. The discontent. So in a city like Shanghai, which is the China's most important industrial hubs, one of them, right? One of the most important industrial hubs, and China's most internationalized city, with a big population over 25 millions, have been locked down for more than a month in the name of getting rid of the virus. The entire city has been in chaos. with disasters happens every day almost, and including the shortage of supplies and food and even starvation. Patients died of illness or even jumping out of the buildings. So many people died, not because of the virus. So in the past week, Shanghai officials have forced residents to hand over their keys after being taken into quarantine for so-called sanitization, in which their personal belongings are soaked in disinfectant, which, basically there's no scientific basis of it, let alone respecting for personal property. Pictures on internet show that those so-called anti-pandemic personnel even climbed up the apartment buildings to break into people's apartment to do such kind of a sanitization.
Mm-hmm.
So think about it. For people, home is their last domain,
mm-hmm.
right? And the only private place and the last refuge. But now, in China, in Shanghai, people's home are not immune to the so-called zero COVID policy. Such crisis is really ringing the alarm bells to the young people in Shanghai, and they would think if the city in China with such a prosperity, with the most wealthy people, the so-called most open and the most national city, is not immune to such kind of iron fist of the Communist Party's policy, how would other cities be and how the future would look like? So this young man saying we are the last generation with a calm yet anger tone reflected the thinking among those young people, right? It's so difficult and humiliating to live, and they see no hope for their future generations. Might as well they just don't give birth to people, don't bring their children to this world. And that's why it resonates with so many people in China. There is a law professor, he's pretty famous, in Shanghai. His name is Zhang Xuezhong, who has known for being arrested after he urged the central government to implement constitution and the peaceful transition. He tweeted about this issue. He said, "We are the last generation, thank you." These tragic words express the deepest despair. The speaker, the young man, announced the biological decision. We will not reproduce. Behind this decision is a psychological and ontological judgment. We are deprived of a future worth looking forward to. It can be said that this sentence is the strongest indictment a young man can make against this era. And Zhang Xuezhong, the lawyer, added, his tone was calm and unnatural when he spoke, but it was precisely because he spoke calmly and naturally that it was shocking to hear. And some people just tweeted back to resonate his comments. One person called Jenny said that that's right, in the despair of having no future, when we still have to live an angry and helpless life, and you, meaning the police, still come to intimidate. Are we still afraid of you? And she said, terribly sad. Another person, Hawkins, said that the cry of "we are the last generation" is scary and resonates with many. If our children are born only to be enslaved by, and if our children have to endure what we have been through, let's sterilize together. Another netizen said, not bringing children to this country and this land is the greatest merit I can contribute. Another one said, in this country, loving your child means do not give birth to him. Another netizen said, we cannot change the history, but we can reject the future.
Yeah, it's quite sad to read through those answers, right? As you can, you probably feel the same way as we do. Just think about it, in this country, United States, we got Second Amendment, right? We got Second Amendment rights. So the police cannot just storm into your door and pull you away. That's why I want to, remind my fellow Americans that that's how precious that this country is. Remember, if the Chinese people have their Second Amendment, such things will not happen. But they are helpless. The police have every force they can use, and the common citizen cannot do anything about it. So.
Yeah, and then there's another video circulating in the WeChat groups in China. The content is about Tan Shitong, one of the 6 gentlemen of the 100 days in the last late Qing dynasty. Maybe you give some background of it. Tan Shitong.
Yeah, well, he was one of the reformers who want to just change the Qing dynasty, into a republic. And then he was not a republic. He wanted to become emperor constitutionalist type of country. And then, there was this conspiracy against he and the emperor then, and he was arrested.
He was going to be executed.
Yeah.
So before that, he was saying goodbye to his wife, and his wife was very sad and told him, "We don't even have a child yet." And Tan Shitong told her in the most desperate sentence. He said, "In such a China, isn't one more child, one more slave?"
Yeah, so that's a sad story that we bring you today, and but the reason we don't, it's not like we want you feel bad, because this is really just low stuff. But this is meant to show you that what is a communist country would be like. Okay, that's why we need to defend America, keep America as it is, a free country, and then otherwise. And Louis, you wrote that sounds like the globalist has won in China. So sad. Yes, what is that is true and also not so true, because it's not a globalist in China. It's just a 1,000% communist. They took over China 70 years ago. They already did that. And then they just use whatever brutal force at will, and they use whatever, cheating method to mislead people. They really got the free will, and not free will, free hand to really mistreat people, abuse them, and bring them down to their knees. So, but
and also people saw, the resistance in his words, right, in the last generation. So one person said the last generation sounds miserable, but in fact there is a spirit of resistance. The last generation is not afraid of troubles at all. What he's also expressing is, what's the big deal? I will take you down with me. That's what was implied. And another person said this expression said, "It's my favorite, most powerful sentence on the internet today. The movement of non-violent, non-cooperation is a force of silence for the general public." And then another person, that's another one line that really went viral and made the authority angry. What this person said is, "Your ruling ends with me, and the suffering you caused ends with me." So that's what people, in China expressing.
All right. I think that's the story that I want to bring to you today. And so what do you think? David Nee, you said thanks. And Ting Ting, hi Ting Ting, good to see you again. And
right.
So indeed. So we bring those stories to provide a contrast, okay? And what is the communist regime would be like, and why we need to treasure what do we have in this country.
And also shows, in China, in Shanghai, people are resisting in their own way, and there probably will be more. And because people are starting to realize, even in a city like Shanghai, people, you earn so much money, you don't really, it's not guaranteed. And so that they don't even want to have a next generation. And as long as the Chinese Communist Party in power, there is no end to such kind of a hardship time.
Yep. But anyway, what happened is, like Lucy, you said, I really agree with you. Okay, you said it sounds like what's happening in America. Same goes, same infiltration, and more subtle, but people are waking up. Yes, indeed, people are waking up. Remember, the citizens of Shanghai, there's 25 million people. They are the most affluent people in China. They thought they had a good life. It's communist party, so we don't mind because we're making money.
Yeah.
Until the last month, they're really being put through hell, and then now they're waking up.
So yeah, maybe it's also the blessing disguise, right?
Yes. Okay, and in Chinese saying there's how to say, there's this word that the Chinese people know: no loss, no gain. Right? Yeah. You go through the suffering. There's things to gain from it. This is the yin and yang. That's the other side of the suffering, and just so we should all stay optimistic because there will be this bright side of it, even though now we're just seeing the dark side, and we learn from it. We grow out of it, right?
Right. Yeah, and Kitty Hawk said, it makes me feel like my heart is in my mouth, but I understand. Yeah, people with kind of heart understand what this is about.
Okay, so that will be all for tonight, and thank you for being with us. And I'll do a joke next time. How about that?
Okay.
Okay, all right, take care. Good night, and we'll see you on Wednesday night.
All right. Take care. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.